Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. I'm fortunate enough to have several Dollar Trees within 20 or so minutes of me, and I try to hit them all at least once a month. I've found that the selection, especially in the holiday and the craft areas, do change depending on the location. This is a picture of some of the things that I got on my last haul. Some of these I'll be using in today's video and some in a future video. For this first project, I used the iron-on art. They had several different styles, some words and some pictures, like this feather. And I just had a t-shirt on hand, so I didn't even have to purchase that. I already had that in my closet. And I just followed the instructions on the back of the iron-on. Pretty self-explanatory, straightforward, and positioned them and ironed them appropriately. I have washed the shirt and dried it, and everything has stayed on. I haven't had anything come off or come loose or anything like that. The little applique iron-on is actually a bunch of little, almost like rhinestone type gold dots. So I was a little worried when I started ironing it on because the plastic kind of shrunk and creased up, but it didn't affect the actual iron-on at all. And once I did it from the outside, I flipped the shirt inside out and gave it a press on the wrong side as well. Once everything was completely cool, then I could go back and take the plastic off. It came off really easily. I just pulled it from a corner and then held the t-shirt top with my other hand. Came right off, no problems or issues there. So I played around with the position that I wanted to put the second one and ended up attaching it at the top portion of the t-shirt. And I will be cutting it off right at the neckline. You see I did place it where it kind of hangs off, so I'm just going to take a pin and mark where the neckband is sewn into the actual t-shirt. I don't want to actually fuse it on to the neckband part. And then I'm going to just cut that part off and fuse it on, following the instructions just like I did the first one. And I have a really pretty shirt that didn't cost me much at all, and it's a really one of a kind. For the second project, I found these really cute little paper mache boxes at one of the Dollar Trees. They had several different sizes. I picked these small and medium ones, and I didn't really like the Halloween look to them, so I just took some Waverly chalk paint that I had purchased at Walmart and a foam brush, and I just gave them 2 coats. I used one color for each one, but I just gave them 2 coats of paint, waited a couple hours for the first coat to dry before I applied the second one. I liked the sides of the boxes. I thought they looked kind of like paper, so I left them alone and just did the top, the spine, and the bottom. It didn't take much paint to do this, but you could also cover it in a decorative paper or even fabric. Once my paint had dried, I just took a little bit of twine that I had on hand and glued it as kind of a decoration on the upper and lower part of the boxes. I thought this turned out really nice, and it's kind of a year-round decoration that you could use in any room. For this project, I'm using a little wire wreath form that I found at Dollar Tree. This one in the shape of like a wagon wheel, but they have different shapes depending on the season. I'm also using a bunch of different floral stems. Most of them came from Dollar Tree. A few of them came from Walmart. And I'm going to use some green floral wire. You could definitely hot glue the flowers on if you wanted to, but I wanted to go with more of a easier, less messy way to do this. So first I'll just take it with my wire cutters and just snip off all the stems, and then I will play around with them, see what kind of way I want to lay them out, and kind of get an idea. I always like putting my full kind of base leaves and things on first, and then going in after that and adding the flowers to fill in. At this point in time, the cat decided to join me and see what I was doing, so definitely had to work around a bit of a tail there. I ended up not using all of these different floral pieces, but even though I'm doing fall, you could easily do this for any holiday just by changing out the florals. You could also add a bow with some ribbon or something like that. I chose not to for this one. I just cut pieces of wire about 4 to 5, sometimes 6 inches in length, and then just twisted them around the floral piece and the frame, and I just twisted them all up and down just to kind of hold them in place. Some pieces, depending on the stem size, may take more than one piece of wire, but you just kind of bend and make it fit where you want it, and then just wire it in place. If you're using something that's really, really full, you could also use chenille stems instead of the wire. But usually Dollar Tree has pretty good florals. Sometimes you can actually find more than one holiday at once. Usually around October or so, you can, a lot of times they'll have Halloween, fall, and Christmas in their stores all at the same time. Once I have my base all secured, then I'll go in with all my different flowers, just laying them out, testing different spacing. And then when I get it the way I like, I'll attach it with the wire. And then once you have everything attached, you can go back through and kind of fluff and twist things as you need them. And if there's any long stems hanging off in the back, you can just clip those off as well. I really like the way this turned out. I thought it looked very minimal but pretty, and I styled it in 2 different ways in my home, depending on the room. For this one, I'm going to use a glass vase and some wooden beads. Both came from Dollar Tree. And again, Dollar Tree has the wooden beads. I found them in the dark wood, the light wood, and then white and black. So you could use any of those colors or just paint them to match your decor or your holiday. I'm just going to use some Gorilla Glue, hot glue sticks, and glue them all around the bottom, making sure periodically that I am checking to make sure that they sit snugly at the bottom so that the vase stays straight when it's sitting on a flat surface. You want to try not to go too far with the glue because the end of it will dry before you get there with your last bead, and then you'll have to put more glue on. So I try to do maybe 3 beads or so at a time. Once I have the bottom row glued on, then I'm going to glue a second row on, kind of putting the beads a little bit in between the row at the bottom. You could even do your second row in a different color if you wanted to. Once I had that done, I pulled out a small piece of some faux leather that I had from a previous project and measured about 2 inches just to glue a strip, and it was a little bit too short, so I had to glue another piece on the end to make it long enough. But I just simply wrapped that around and hot glued it down. Gave it a little bit of a rustic, natural look on it. Now this bottle actually graduated in size, so I had to make a little slit at the bottom so it would lay flat, but it was hidden nicely in the bottom towards the beads, and so you really couldn't see it. So I just styled this in my living room with some of the extra florals that I had that I didn't use for my wreath project, and I thought it turned out really cute. I hope you enjoyed this video.